In this channel, I've always spoken to you about things that I learned, things that I managed to do, giving you tutorials or giving you some sort of advice in general regarding our field as software engineers, developers, designers, whatever it is. But honestly, I was sort of stuck in this uni assignment where I had to explain or speak about some of my weaknesses or what are some of the things I do that might slow me down or slow down the progress in a project that I'm working in. And although usually when it comes to subjects like these where I have to write reflections, I would usually just fake it or just not even look at it at all and completely make up fake scenario. It did bug me for a little bit. I did wonder what are some of the things that I do or some of the mistakes I commit that do in fact slow me down. Now this could be slowing me down in terms of communicating with a customer, completing a project, communicating with my boss in general. It's just something that will slow down the progress of the project that I'm working on, whether that's actually the project, like starting and finishing the project, or even managing a lead and getting or securing a project. So, in this episode, basically, that's exactly what I'll be doing. I will be going over some mistakes or some things I do that definitely do slow me down, and I'm telling it to you so that hopefully you don't have to do it as well, and maybe speed yourself up as well. Now, the first thing that I'll speak about is underestimating a project time. Now, I'm not too sure if you do this as well or not, but whenever I get introduced to a new project, usually I would respond back to the customer in a day or two after they've completely explained and described their project to me. And usually I would give them a time estimate to when I think I'll be able to finish that project. So I can say 9 days, 10 days, 15 days, a month, 2 months, whatever. But something I usually or often do is underestimate that time. Now, note that the projects usually can be done in that exact time that I estimated. In fact, they can usually be done much earlier on a technical level and even on a design level. But what usually happens, or the mistake that I usually do, is that I assume that whatever I will do will satisfy my customer. Usually, that's not the case. Now, it doesn't mean that your work is bad, it just means that it's not what the customer was expecting. At the end of the day, they don't know what they will be receiving, they don't know what to see it. Especially if it's a new idea, they have no reference. Now, they could imagine and try give you their ideas, but at the end of the day, they're not inside your brain, and so whatever you produce usually is not actually what they're after from the first try. So until now, and I probably do this all the time, is I would say, yes, this project will be completed in 9 days. And I would complete it in 9 days, but we would then go back and forth in iterations and revisions that sometimes can take up to a whole month or even longer from what I've originally planned I will finish the project. Definitely a big mistake. It slows me down. It makes the customers a little bit bad and a little bit worried about why did this project take much longer than it was expected to, and basically try as much as you can to just give extra time. If you think you will finish a project in 5 days, say you'll finish it in 15. And a customer would never, or anyone in general, they would rather you tell them that something will take longer and then finish it early than actually saying early and then late, because then it's a mistake that you're doing. So this was the first thing. And the second thing I'll do, or I keep on doing, and will probably keep doing for a while, that I definitely believe slows me down, is actually working on what I think should be developed and not what the customer wants or what they think should be developed. Now, this is a huge mistake. And admittingly, sometimes my idea might be better, or my enhancement to the app, or the idea that the customer comes with might be better. It might make the app faster, quicker, faster, or just more efficient. But that's not what they want. If someone wants orange juice and you go to them and tell them, well, apple juice is much healthier for you, it's better, it's nicer, and you try to give it to them, they will still not like it, especially if they're paying for it. So this is something I usually do that ends up slowing me down a lot, is that sometimes without me even being aware, they will be listing their requirements and I would accept their requirements, would agree on a price and a time estimate for when it will be completed. And then slowly, accidentally, sometimes not accidentally, but accidentally, I would change the way some of the requirements are met or how some of the requirements end up being developed to suit what I think might be a better app or a better feature. It's a complete no no. I will definitely suggest that you can suggest this to your customer. You can tell them, hey, I think this might be better, but definitely do not do it and develop it without telling them, especially if you're on time and on budget. Now, the third thing, and you might probably start realizing a trend here, and that is most of the issues that I personally have are usually customer related. So it's something to do with my communication with the customer or how the customer communicated to me. That's usually where my problems happen. Yours could be different. But my third mistake here that I always usually do is not spend enough time collecting requirements for the customer. Now, at the very start of any project, usually I would sit down with the customer, whether it's online or face to face. I'd write down what they want and what they want to create or develop, and then I would start working on it. And honestly, for me, that requirement collection stage, I usually try to flatten it as much as I can or try to shorten it as much as I can. I enjoy development. I enjoy spending 9 hours behind the computer screen writing code, but I do not enjoy collecting requirements. Now, the issue is, although I do enjoy writing code, I do not enjoy repeating my code, or I do not enjoy writing code and then finding out that it was code that was basically unnecessary because it was not what the customer wanted. So a mistake that I usually do is, yes, I do not spend enough time focusing on understanding what the customer wants and their requirements. And if you're doing the same, then I would highly advise you to increase the number of days, not even hours, days that you spend collecting and understanding the customer's requirements. Last thing for this episode that I will mention that I usually do or always do is trying to do everything on my own. Now, on the internet right now, there's so many different libraries, there's so many different resources, there's Stack Overflow where you can find answers, there's honestly just open templates that you can just download and use, there is repos on GitHub. There's so many tools that you can use to make your life easier as a developer or a programmer. There were so many times where I would start a project, I would get stuck, and I would either change the environment that I'm using completely just because I couldn't complete the project in it, or I would let the customer know that there will be delays, or I would just scrap a whole project just because I couldn't do it. But if I go back in time, I would definitely start spending much more attention trying to solve a problem by looking through the internet. It's honestly as easy as just searching up your problem. And what I usually started finding now is that someone, 99%, would have been through what you're going through and already found a solution for it. So it's something that I always do, and it always annoys me after I figure it out because it takes me such a long period of time to realize that, hey, I should have just searched this up from the beginning. Whenever you find a problem from now on, just go ahead and search it. Don't do the same mistake that I do, which is just depending on yourself. There's a whole community of programmers, there's a whole community of people who do what you're doing, and that's what communities are for. You're meant to go out there and search for the answers at the right places, which definitely exist and they're easy to find on the internet. So this was it for this episode. It's 4 different things I do, or 4 mistakes I do that definitely delay me or delay the progress of any project I am working on. I'm trying to improve them. I'm trying to basically remove those obstacles, and hopefully by the next episode or maybe the next year, I would have completely eliminated all those mistakes. I hope you enjoyed something today, and I hope you learned something new about programming, about development, and about project management in general. Now, I will mention one thing. I did recently start my new business, which is a printing business, and you can basically print on acrylic, cardboard, wood, anything you can. You can even do wedding invitations, phone cases, whatever. And I will leave the link to my website in the description below so you can check it out, have a look. It's definitely free to have a look at it. And who knows, maybe you'll find something that you want and also support me and the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.